Alright, this is what I replace on my 4L60Es. Now I'll get an LS kit. If it has water in it, or if they put that Dr. Tranny, whatever the hell you call that stuff, it smells really bad. If it's got that in it, I've replaced the pistons also. And of course the filter. Over 200,000 EPC solenoid. The band's always wore out, so it gets banned. Even if the band don't look bad, look right here where the anchor goes. They wear out there too. 3/4 steels and pressure plate. This one here, somebody's already been into it. They put 7 frictions in it, so it's got different steels and different pressure plates. Overdrive sprag. I always replace it with the 2-element. Pump bushing, case bushing, both stator bushings, which I didn't get. That's the bare minimum I replaced in every one. This one here happened to need a pump slide vane and rotor kit. And both shift solenoids, I always replace those. They didn't send that either. This one here blew out the back end of the input drum, and you see the steels that always wear out usually. This one's got a decent band in it. I'll probably run this to keep that one for stock. I don't know. Since it did have that Dr. Tranny stuff in it, it tends to break the glue down, so I may replace this anyway. On these 4L60s, I always block this PWM valve so it don't move. Make sure your 1-2 shift valve is free. That's usually the one that likes to stick. I think that is about it. And just your basic stuff on everything else. Luckily the drum they sent me is loaded. This one here came apart. There's either that the guy cut them. There's little tabs right here that's supposed to hook into here. And these holes hold this together. I was not going to try to put that down inside the drum, so luckily they sent me one with the drum. I'll get by that. I guess that's it for this one. Okay, on your 4L60s, 4L60Es, I've got the 1870 code. Cure that. You block this PWM valve. Now somebody's already put a younger valve in here, so I'm just going to leave it because I don't have the stuff to swap it back. But normally I just block that with 2 check balls. I wish I could show that to you. I can't right now because I don't have the right valve body set up. Anyway, block that valve. This little screen that's in the end of your lockup solenoid, take that out and throw that away. Some of the 95, 96, and I believe it was up to 97s. Right here in this is your lockup valve, and right here, instead of having this orifice cut plug, it has an orifice cut plug, but it's flipped over, and on the back side there's a plastic insert, and behind that is a little spring and ball. You need to drill that little plastic insert out and take that ball and spring out and put the cut plug back in. Make sure it doesn't hinder the movement of the valve here. And that's pretty much it for the 1870 code. As far as your 3/4s burning it up all the time, a couple reasons for that. One of them is this check ball right here likes to beat through the plate, and it gets stuck in the plate. I always put a bigger ball here, just flat sand the separator plate, put a bigger ball. I put the ball that comes out of this capsule in here, and but I drill that down just a little bit. I use a 315 thousandths drill bit, and it just knocked the edge of that so that check ball sits down a little bit further, because what I found is you just put the bigger ball in it, it sits just barely off that plate, and it basically causes the same problem. So I started drilling that down just a hair. You don't have to hit much off of it. And let that ball sit down a little bit further. So I put the bigger ball there. I take the capsule out of the case, which I'm going to show that in a minute. I want to talk about the pump slide. You notice right here, see how it's all blue back here? That's how the inside of this is supposed to be. And you see it's only blue right there. The rest of this is worn off. This is going to start wearing extremely fast. It's going to give you all kinds of pressure problems. You see that? Just change it out. Ain't that big of a deal. On your early 700s, on these hardened rings, they didn't used to have hardened rings, and the way you test it, you'd bounce it on the table, and if it bounced, it was hardened. If it wasn't, it'd crack it in half. You always want to use hardened rings. And believe it or not, I still have seen a couple 700s come in that had the non-hardened rings in them. You'd think that they'd all be gone by now. When you change out your pump slide, between the 700 and 4L60Es, there was in between on the early 700s, they had an 8-vane pump slide and rotor, and you could change that out to a 10-vane with no problems. You didn't have to change anything except for the kit. To go from a 10-vane to a 13-vane, which is what the late style is, you can't do that. You have to it has to do with these little areas right here and where it fits on the stator here, these little openings. Most of your 13 vanes, especially your early pumps, these late pumps I noticed don't have it, but your early pumps on your 4L60s will have stamped on here 13V. That means 13 vane, and it usually is on the front cover too. So beware of that when you're changing these out, that you can't, because I've had them send me the 10 vane and they say, oh, it works. No, it doesn't work. You have to put a 13 vane where a 13 vane was. You can put a 10 vane where an 8 vane was, but you can't mix all that crap up. And when you get the kit, in the kit, you're going to get a new rubber and this plastic piece here that fits in right here. I saved the old one from the one that come out of it. I put those back in, and what I found is these new ones stick up too much, and even if you shave it down, sometimes it causes a bind on these pump slides, and you can see where it's all rough right there, where it's been binding in there anyway. You need to flat sand all that areas where this all rides. It gets all scored up and it'll start catching and give you all kinds of pressure problems. Let's see, the other thing is on these drums here, the distance from these ring lands up. This here is where your input speed sensor is reading on the real late model ones, and that's your input speed sensor there. Very rarely is an input speed sensor bad. When you get a code for it, it's usually the TCM computer. It's got these little hair wires in it that break, and that's usually what your problem is. Anyhow, this distance from the bottom of here to where these rings are, there's 3 different ones. You want to make damn sure you're getting the same stator shaft if you're just changing the shaft, and the drum. Make sure they're sending you the right stuff, because it'll screw you up if you get the wrong stator shaft and drum setup. Let's see. Oh, it's on your servos. This is a Corvette servo. You can see how small this area is here. But there'll be a number stamped down inside there usually. If you ever come across one that ends in 054, throw that son of a bitch away and get you a 053 or Corvette servo if they won't bitch because it's shifting hard. The other thing that I do is I pull this capsule out here. And I do this on every one. And I've heard throughout the years people complain about people that do this, that it causes a harsh downshift. I've changed this on every 4L60, 4L60E that I've ever built. I've built thousands of them. I ain't never had one that did that. And pull that capsule out, get you this I'll put the description and the link and the part number. This cut plug is a GM cut plug. It's in every GM that's ever been built. Actually even holds a part call back here on the 4L60s. But put that down in the hole, make sure it's lined up. Drive it in just past this area right here, sitting right there. And like I say, I take this ball that's in here and I put that in that valve body. Let's see. I'll pull this check ball out of here. You can put it anywhere, but usually helps me. I just put it in there, and the extra one that was there, I put in the valve body, block that valve. And I think that's pretty much all I do to 4L60s. Oh, the other thing that burns up your 3/4 clutches in your band is a lot of times the mass airflow sensor is not reading properly on these, especially the trucks. So if you have a scanner, you hook the scanner up to it and go to the engine side. Now there's all different ways, and I've been to seminars and they tell you how to do the formulas, and you go on the websites and you can do the calculations and all that. But it's very simple. Go hook your scanner up, go to the engine side, go to the engine load PID and watch that. Take off from a dead stop, floor the vehicle, and right when it makes the 1-2 shift, look at what that engine load is. If it's 90% or above, your mass airflow sensor is okay. If it is below that, your mass airflow sensor is no good, and you're going to burn up your 3/4 clutches. So do that. And there was one other thing I was just thinking of that I need to tell you about. Oh, as far as this seal goes, I don't have it where I could do this right now, but put this, when you get it all built up and get ready to put your pump in, you put this seal on, lube it up of course. Okay, so you got the unit built up, ready to put the pump in, lube this up, put your seal on, this seal on, put your gasket on, drop your pump in, drop it down all the way, but don't tighten your pump bolts up. Put your bell housing on, tighten these bolts up, Now it's going to push this down in further, then tighten your pump bolts up. Now if you had the regular O-ring that went on here, you don't have to do that, but do that on that. And other than that, I think pretty much got everything. I would buff this off where your neutral switch goes, because there's usually a little burr right there, and when you go to put your neutral switch back on, it'll cut that and it'll make it fit real sloppy and it won't read properly. So make sure you buff those little edges off right there. And I believe, alright, there was one other thing on these front planets. Two different ones. Get this out of here. Takes different bearings. You can see this bearing here. Now it's dished. It fits inside of here instead of on the front of that planet. Difference between the early and the late. You have to change it. You can change them out, but you got to change all three pieces. So the height of that shoulder right there, 94 thousandths, takes that dished bearing, and the depth on this little area right here, 134 thousandths. So like I say, you got to change all three pieces. This goes on the back side here.